Mr. President, I rise to request that we adjourn in the memory of 5 dear citizens from the San Juan, Central, and the Salinas Valleys. Each individual's contributions to society shall survive them. Today I ask that we adjourn in the memory of Lucille Barnes, who passed away on December 28, 2020. Lucille Barnes came from humble and industrious beginnings. She spent her childhood performing back-breaking fieldwork, where she developed a hard-working spirit that followed her throughout her life. To say that Lucille Barnes was a fearless trailblazer would be an understatement. She was a role model for women in the Central Valley, becoming the first woman mail carrier in Merced history, where she worked for 11 years before retiring. She faithfully served on the Mosquito Abatement Board for 26 years as the first African-American female trustee. Lucille Barnes simply could not be stopped. In her retirement, she formed Barnes Tax Service, providing tax preparation and accounting services, which came as no surprise to family and friends. To know her was to know an innovator. She bravely confronted the barriers society tried to place on her. Amongst her many wonderful contributions, Lucille Barnes is survived by a sister, 2 sons, 2 daughters, 11 grandchildren, 23 great-grandchildren, and 2 great-great-grandchildren, and many more family members and friends. She was an intrepid leader and role model for her family and women everywhere. Rest in power, Miss Lucille Barnes. I rise again to honor the memory of Charlie Huddleston, who passed away on July 6, 2020. He was a beloved businessman, organizer, and advocate in the community of Merced, California. Charlie Huddleston worked tirelessly to preserve history's past lessons while serving as a mentor to many current residents. His transformative legacy in the Merced community includes galvanizing the entire community to advocate for a street dedicated to the memory of Martin Luther King Jr. and initiating the first Juneteenth celebration of freedom. Mr. Huddleston spent his life educating and uplifting those around him by organizing frequent events that brought the community together across all age groups. He believed that children are the future and made a continuous effort to spread his wisdom to younger generations, raising money to support youth causes and emphasizing the value of education. Mr. Huddleston is celebrated as a pillar of the Merced community for his dedication to youth. He would often go into the community and transport students to school in an effort to keep them out of trouble. He went above and beyond to ensure that all children had a champion in their corner. Thank you, Mr. Charlie Huddleston, for your dedication to service and compassionate mentorship. I rise today to ask that the Senate adjourn in the memory of Toshihiko Matsui, an outstanding horticulturalist, businessman, community leader, and philanthropist who was committed to cultivating beautiful flowers and young minds. The art of gardening brought Mr. Matsui to the Salinas Valley from Japan, where he purchased 40 acres of land to establish the Matsui Nursery. He was a pioneer in his field, growing world-renowned chrysanthemums, roses, and eventually orchids. And so if you enjoy a beautiful orchid, you can thank Mr. Matsui, who developed a strategy to be able to grow them commercially. His breadth of knowledge and impeccable business acumen allowed Matsui Nursery to flourish, becoming one of the nation's most celebrated orchid producers. Mr. Matsui had a vision for excellence that spanned far beyond his successful business and into the community. He established the Matsui Foundation to support underserved students in the Salinas Valley and Monterey County. The foundation gives a full-ride scholarship to a student every year for each public high school in Monterey County and has changed countless lives, distributing more than $8 million to college-bound students. Mr. Matsui was exceedingly generous, making the largest donation to a community college in California history in the form of $20 million worth of farmland to the Hartnell Community College. Toshihiko Matsui passed away on December 11, 2020, and is survived by his loving wife of 62 years, children, and grandchildren. He will be missed by many, but his generosity lives on in the heart of the Salinas Valley. Thank you, Mr. Matsui, for acting as a beacon of hope in our community to students that needed a leg up. Today, I rise to remember the legacy of Joseph Austinson, a music connoisseur in the Huddleston community who shared his passion for the art as a teacher, a performer, and inspiration, fondly known as Mr. O. Joseph Austinson founded the Rancho San Justo Middle School band program, offering trumpet lessons and facilitated a positive introduction for people of all ages to music in the Hollister area. He was steadfast in his dedication to his students. His talents gave him the ability to make music accessible to everyone, no matter their level of expertise. He retired from teaching after 46 dynamic years and founded yet another musical venture, Mr. O's Academy, a fine arts academy in downtown Hollister. His academy became a safe haven for musicians, offering fellowship and training for people with a shared passion. You could not separate Joseph Austinson from his music. As he said, quote, "You can play sports and do other activities for a short amount of time, but music is something you can do until you're old and gray." Mr. Austinson embraced his role as a leader. He was more than a teacher. He used music to create a community. Music represented love in every part of his life. He is survived by his devoted wife and daughter who have fond memories of playing a supportive role in his career. Mr. Austinson dedicated his life to music and triumphantly shared his enthusiasm and skills with the world to inspire musicians all over the Central Coast. I ask the Senate to adjourn in his memory today. And finally, I rise today to ask that the Senate adjourn in the memory of Shirley Laverado, who passed away on April 24th, 2020. A dedicated humanitarian, Shirley Laverado was celebrated locally and globally for her determination to leave the world a better place than she found it. Her work earned her a variety of honors, including the Benemerente Medal from Pope Benedict XVI, the Honorary Award from the American Cancer Society, the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Alliance on Aging, the Panther Award from the Christian Brothers Foundation, the Philanthropic Award from Salinas Valley Memorial Hospital, and the National Philanthropy Award. She was a devout woman, a civil servant, a mother, a sister, a daughter, a wife, a grandmother, and a faithful member of St. Joseph Parish in Spreckles, California. Despite her spectacular achievements and many commitments, Shirley Laverado considered her family to be her greatest pride and joy. She's survived by a loving husband of 59 years, 3 sons, 3 siblings, and 5 grandchildren. Shirley Laverado touched the lives of everyone she came into contact with. Her selfless service has left its impact on the world. Thank you for believing in humanity, community, and love, Mrs. Laverado. These 5 influential leaders of the 12th Senate District will be missed. In the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson, to leave the world a bit better, whether by a healthy child, a garden patch, or a redeemed social condition, to know that even one life has breathed easier because you have lived, that is to have succeeded. I ask that we adjourn in their memories today.